Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. This is an emergency episode. It's going to be a quick one, going to be a little bit of short form content, probably going to try to keep it to 10 minutes or less. You guys know what just happened. The OpTic news just dropped. The timeline's exploding. It dropped like 2 minutes ago as I hit record, so there might be new developments coming up that I completely missed in this video because everything's going so fast on the timeline. But wow. If you guys like this one, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. This one's only going to be on YouTube. I don't want to get into too much intro stuff. I just want to talk about this. If you can't tell, I'm talking a little fast. I'm absolutely shocked. I think we all thought that OpTic was sticking together. It was pretty much the thing that OpTic does. They stick together. They don't make roster moves unless they have an absolutely horrible year. And they won an event this year. They were pretty successful. Obviously had the injury to ILLEY, and that kind of shortened their success this season. I guess I was thinking maybe the only chance they make a roster move is if ILLEY's thumb is like really bad and they just don't think he's going to be able to play. Maybe they replace him with the flex. But not only is ILLEY, like the rumor comes out that, you know, they're looking at Hydra from CDL Scrimtel, and then all of a sudden ILLEY says he's a free agent, then Dashy says he's a free agent, and I'm like, is this bait? And then OpTic Texas posts like, thank you for your time with the team, and they're both gone, and I'm like in complete shock. I don't even know what to think. The one thing I am glad about before we really dive into what this could mean for the roster, I'm very glad that ILLEY tweeted that he's a free agent and like people should hit him up, because I was a little bit worried with this news that maybe ILLEY's thumb was obviously getting a lot worse, but the fact that he's saying he's a free agent and looking for a team is fantastic. I love to see that. I tweeted about it. I love ILLEY. One of my favorite players in the league. I just love the passion that he brings and the minds for the game. So very happy to see that he's still looking for a team. At least he's going to get a team. There's no doubt about that. And happy to see that it's not like an injury thing, just completely just ending a career before it even really started. So that's wild. Wow, I'm just kind of in shock if you can't tell. Dashy getting dropped is wild because I felt like he was going to be on OpTic forever, kind of like Scump. I kind of thought they were just going to keep Dashy and Shotzzy and ILLEY as a trio, and then once Scump retires, replace him with somebody, and then just keep running it up. I guess the rumor right now, like, is Skies and Hydra are coming in, because they were saying Hydra was going to come in, and then they were saying Skies was going to replace, or they were saying Skies was going to go to New York. Jeez, I'm all over the place. They're saying Skies are going to go to New York with Hydra, and they were going to build a team there. I guess the rumor was that Hydra was going to come in for ILLEY for a little bit. But now that Dashy's restricted as well, that makes me wonder if Skies is going to replace Dashy. I know CDL Scrimtel did just say, I'm kind of scrolling through the timeline as I do this. CDL Scrimtel did say that Skies and Hydra are going to be on the team. It's going to be Skies on the main, Scump on the flex, then Hydra and Shotzzy on the subs. So maybe Scump trying to make a move to the flex here to prolong his career. Maybe we see a lot of the older players as they get up there in age, they kind of tend to get off the SMG and maybe play a little bit of AR or flex at the very least. This instantly becomes super interesting for Rostermania, because I would think that the only way Dashy would get dropped was like if they wanted to make Cellium the main AR on OpTic, because he's maybe like the only upgrade at main. Which, speaking of that, wouldn't that be wild if Dashy just like heads to Faze or something and they just have Dashy, Cellium, Simp, and Abezy, just complete raw talent squad or something. But I guess now this makes Rostermania very interesting, because if you thought you had some preconceived notions of where you thought people were going, the most desirable team on the market now has an opening at their main AR spot, and then depending on what Scump decides to do, if he does decide to flex, or if he does decide to play SMG, the most desirable team to play for on the market now has openings at main AR and either a flex or SMG, depending on Scump and what he wants to do. So this is completely wild. I guess when you look at the free agents available and like think of who else it could be, like if we don't go off the preconceived notion that we're seeing on the timeline that everybody's saying Skies and Hydra are going there to team with Scump and Shotzzy, who are some other potential players that we know are free agents? The first one that came to mind for me was Attach. I'm sure Scump and Attach have a pretty good relationship, you know, both being competitors for a very long time and competing against each other. We know Attach is a fantastic player, and we know he brings kind of that S&D prowess that ILLEY has as well, so he can kind of replace ILLEY with that clutch factor in S&D in a way. Attach can also flex. He could be a main AR. I would assume he wouldn't play sub on this team if they were just going to bring him in and bring another AR, and they'd probably have him flex and just have Scump stay on the sub. But I could see a world where they try to bring in Attach to play a main, because I know he wants to play a main next year, and maybe they slide Scump to flex, and then they have Hydra and Shotzzy in there or something. I could see a world where Attach is looked at, especially because, I mean, talk about a guy that would be perfect and fit OpTic's mold for content. I mean, Attach is an absolute natural on camera and would be fantastic. He already has a pretty big personality in the scene. So yeah, I could easily see Attach replacing him. I'm trying to think of other free agents, and honestly, I don't really know who else it could be. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of Skies, but since the whole Skies and Hydra combo is happening, that seems to be a pretty realistic one. I just can't believe that like the tweet came out that like always been family since the day you joined OpTic. Thank you, Dashy, for everything. Wishing you the best and everything. That's just wild. That just like he finished second in MVP. I can't believe it. We keep seeing this meme go around the timeline. I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but I wanted this just to be a quick raw reaction emergency episode, 10 minutes. And I see Tactical Rab tweeted the thing saying this won't happen, but and it's a picture of the roster of Shotzzy, Scump, Cammy, and Crim, and everybody's like joking around about it. He tweeted that like before the news, and all of a sudden people are like, oh my god, could you imagine the torches people would have out if all of a sudden Crim was just on the roster instead of Dashy or something? I definitely don't think that's happening. But would be wild. The subliners actually just, let me pull this up here. The subliners actually just tweeted the gif of Michael B. Jordan like nodding his head, like looking like he's going to cry upset. So maybe that tells me that they've kind of heard news that Hydra's leaving them or something, or Hydra's gone. But wow, this makes Rostermania a lot more interesting because not only does it open up 2 spots on the league's premier team in terms of most fans, you know, OpTic is the team, let's be honest, that most players want to play for. Like, it's kind of like the premier team in any sport. Like, if you can get to OpTic, like, you know that, like, you really made it because they're the premier team that everybody wants to play for with the most fans and everything, most following, and can really propel your career forward from there. So they have 2 spots open, but not only do they have 2 spots open, this means that maybe the entire New York roster is up for grabs and there's spots there. This means that there's going to be a lot of players trying to shuffle to potentially get onto OpTic. This means that Dashy is a free agent, the runner-up for MVP. A lot of people were arguing that he should have been MVP. I'm not one of them. I do think Cellium was the clear MVP this year, but Dashy was the clear number 2 and was right up there for MVP. And now all of a sudden he's a restricted free agent. Obviously, they would have to buy him out and stuff, but he's a restricted free agent, and now ILLEY also an unrestricted free agent. ILLEY's a pretty premier player to have out there, so this is absolutely wild. I think that's all I have for it. Maybe as we get more news, I'll pop open another podcast, like another little emergency one. Don't even know if we can really call this a podcast because it's such a short, less than 10-minute video, but just wanted to hop on and kind of talk to you guys about my thoughts on this. I guess the ILLEY one's a little bit less surprising for me because he's only been on OpTic for the 1 year and had the injury and stuff. Still absolutely shocked by it, but the Dashy one is the more surprising one to me. Like I said, I mean, Dashy was on the team in BO4 for that full year, and then as we head into franchising with MW, obviously he sticks onto like the OpTic logo technically, but not with Hecz. And then he goes to Huntsman, and then he's on, or excuse me, sorry, he doesn't go to Huntsman. He's on OpTic. I'm all over the place here. Then Cold War, he's on OpTic, and then he obviously is on OpTic again in Vanguard. So really, in total, spent 3 full years with Hecz OpTic, and then 1 year on the OGLA squad. So he's been with OpTic like basically his whole career since he came up, besides like the end of IW when he played at Champs in World War II. So kind of shocked to see Dashy dropped, especially because it seemed like he was so loved by the fans and seemed like he had such a good relationship. But I guess they decided it's time to move on. And CDL Scrimtel also did just tweet. I know I'm trying to wrap this up, but CDL Scrimtel tweeted, Shotzzy just dropped his day 1 in COD. That is wild. I remember him saying something about like Shotzzy was, or ILLEY was Shotzi's duo for life. And damn, that's wild. I think that's going to do it for this one, though. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get on and kind of talk about the crazy drama that happened. I mean, maybe it's going to end up being a troll or something. Maybe this is just an all elaborate troll to get us all to talk about it and bait us, but I don't think so. I'll be coming back at you guys with some more crazy Rostermania news. You know, I said we were going to have a lack of content here in the off season, and OpTic said, screw you, you were wrong. We're not going to have a lack of content. So this was absolutely wild. Hope you guys enjoyed this little mini short form content. If you guys want to see more stuff like this where like big roster news happens, even if it's not OpTic, even if it's Minnesota and they drop some roster news or something, or random teams and they drop roster news, if you guys want to see just like short form day of content, if I have the time to do it, reacting like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes or whatever, I'd love to do it. I'd love to talk about this with just no detailed thoughts on it. I can kind of just give my raw reaction. You guys can kind of hear the shock in my voice and kind of me going through my thought process like they would on the flank or something. But that's going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on what OpTic's going to do. I mean, I guess the common pick right now is people are saying Skies and Hydra are going there, but if you guys have a hot take or something you think they should do better, I want to hear down below what you think OpTic should do that would either be better or more realistic or something, or if you think that Skies and Hydra roster is the best possible 2 realistic players they could pick up. Obviously, if you think that they could pick up like Simp and Abezy to go run in front of him or something, or Simp and Cellium to go run in with Scump and Shotzzy, that's not exactly realistic because they're not free agents, but comment down below your most realistic roster that you would like to see for OpTic. And that's going to do it for this one. And I will see you guys in the next one. Wow, what some wild news this was.